when I was 13 at a drama workshop put on for our school, we learnt about how to breathe in a way that actors need to breathe and project our voices, and they told us that we needed to breathe deep into our abdomens. And I I don't know, 20 odd years after that, I trained myself to solely breathe into my abdomen. The only time when I would not breathe only in my abdomen, or wouldn't breathe into my abdomen at all, was when I was doing Pilates, when I breathed into my ribcage, because you have to hold your Pilates scoop. So I would either breathe into my ribcage or my abdomen, and it was only in 2020, in one of the COVID lockdowns, that I listened to a really interesting podcast, which I will post below, that I learned that actually optimal breathing, if you're able to, obviously not everyone can breathe this way, is breathing into your abdomen and into your ribcage. Why didn't anyone tell me this? I'd been practicing yoga and pranayama for like a decade or more by this point, and I'd been doing it in a way that I thought that's the yoga way to do it. But actually this practice, three-dimensional breathing, combines the two, and I'm someone who experiences asthma, so learning how to breathe really changed my life in so many ways. So that's what I want to do on this video for you. So first of all, I'm going to teach you how to help your brain to reference different parts of your body so that you can sink into that part of your body. So one way of doing that is if you just put your hands on your abdomen and just rubbing, or if you want to pat, or any kind of sensation, it just helps your brain to be aware of that part of your body. Or just placing your hands there in stillness, and that helps you to bring your awareness there. And so before we actually do any of the breathing exercise, I'm just going to explain very simply about the diaphragm. It's kind of like a jellyfish, and it's domed, and like a jellyfish opens out and kind of swims like that. Our diaphragms do the same. So it starts in the dome position, moves down to flatten, and then comes back up into a dome. And that top part of the dome, you might be able to feel on your body, you might not be able to, is at the bottom of the sternum. So the bone at the centre of your rib cage, right at the bottom of that, that's where the top of your diaphragm is, the dome part. The bottom part is all the way down near your lower ribs. So your diaphragm can actually move 10 centimetres or more when you breathe. And that's why when we're breathing into our abdomens, this is called diaphragm breathing as well, that's why it pushes your organs down and your abdomen comes out and goes in and out. So this part of the practice, if you want to, you can just join me in taking a few breaths and with your hands on your abdomen and just noticing how that feels for your breath to come in and out here. Okay, when you're ready. Just to say, I've also posted a link to a video below that shows you the movement of the diaphragm to make it clearer. And then moving on to your rib cage. And this opens out your rib. Some people compare it to a bucket lid. So obviously a bucket lid is on an axis. It flips open. and your ribs kind of do the same. They kind of flare out. So all around it moves, but you can feel it more at the bottom because there's more cartilage at the bottom of your rib cage. So that's where you get the bigger movements, and you can feel it usually to the sides. The lower sides of your ribs is where you feel it most strongly normally. But also, I mean, if you're putting your hand on your heart, your rib cage does move up and down. But you can't feel it as strongly usually as in your rib cage. I mean, it depends on your body. So if you want to join me in noticing your breath in your rib cage, what I like to do again is just find that reference, teaching my brain, this is where my rib cage is in space. So again, just rubbing, tapping, patting, anything that's going to help you to teach your brain where your rib cage is, sorry. And I'm just focusing on my lower part of my rib cage mainly. You can also do your back as well, the back part. And then when you're ready, you're welcome to put your hands on anywhere on your rib cage. I like to do the lower part of my side ribs. Actually, I like to do it like this, so I'm giving myself a little hug. Just feels more soothing. And from here you can notice your breath going in and out of your rib cage and the movement of your ribs. So yeah, you're welcome to do this for a few breaths, with your eyes open or shut. Okay, and when you're ready, you're welcome to take your hands away. And just to say, I've linked a video to ribcage movement below this video as well. And what I was going to say at the beginning of this practice but forgot was a really good quote that I heard recently from a accessible yoga teacher named Jivana Heyman. And he said that if you are breathing, you're doing it right. So I've currently got a cold and I'm struggling to breathe through my nose, but you can still practice pranayama, breathing through your mouth. You might find that for some reason you can't breathe into a certain part of your body, or maybe your muscles don't have the muscle tone to be able to do that. You're still breathing, you're still alive, you're doing it right. That's pranayama. So any kind of practice where you're just becoming aware of your breathing, you don't have to lengthen your breath or make it a bigger breath or anything like that, but you're just being aware of it. That's pranayama. It doesn't matter how you're breathing. Oh yeah, well done for doing that practice, whatever that looked like for you. And I hope that made some sense for you. If you'd like to combine now the different movements of your abdomen and your rib cage and just notice both at the same time, one thing you can do is put your hand on your heart and one hand on your abdomen. And again, just taking a couple of breaths here. Okay, and it's great to just notice how it feels. Like I can hardly feel any movement in my right hand on my heart, but I can feel a lot of movement down here. So just noticing that. You might be the other way around. And That's what pranayama is, just being aware and connected to your breath. So thank you for joining me for this practice. I hope it helped you to understand a little bit more about your breath and how it works. And I will see you next time. Bye.